1. Europe's extreme heatwave cools off, relief and ongoing climate risks. 2. Deadly European heatwave. 6 lives lost as temperatures soar above 40 degrees Celsius. 3. Europe heatwave warning. Record temperatures forecast. 4. Europe's deadly heat wave. Wildfires and EU climate plan explained. 1. Europe's extreme heatwave cools off, relief and ongoing climate risks. Europe breathes a sigh of relief as extreme heat subsides, but risks persist. After days of scorching temperatures, Europe finally experienced some respite from the extreme heat over the weekend, with cooler temperatures and thunderstorms providing much-needed relief. Germany reported a maximum daytime temperature of 24 degrees Celsius on Sunday, while Spain and Italy also saw temperatures averaging around 27 C and 30 C, respectively. Belgium and Luxembourg experienced significant rainfall as temperatures dropped, marking the end of a spell of back-to-back days of scorching heat. The cool-off came as a significant relief to many, as severe heatwaves across the continent caused temperatures to rise above 40 degrees Celsius (104 degrees Fahrenheit) in countries including France, Greece, Italy, Portugal, and Spain, with domestic authorities in some issuing red alerts and warning of the possibility of wildfires. But here's where it gets controversial. At least 8 people have died across Europe, 4 people in Spain, 2 in France, and 2 in Italy, from the early summer heatwave as temperatures hit new records. While the extreme heat began to move east last Wednesday, meteorologists warned that the danger is far from over. Germany. In Germany, authorities issued warnings of forest fires on the border between Saxony and Brandenburg. According to the district of Meissen, hundreds of firefighters continued to combat the flames in an attempt to shield villages on the Saxon side of the Gorestiide. For firefighting, helicopters from the German army, federal police, and state police were also deployed. Around 2,100 hectares of the Gorestiide Nature Reserve continue to burn, according to local authorities, who described the situation on the Saxon side as particularly tense. More than 550 firefighters, technical relief workers, the German armed forces, police and other organizations with up to 140 vehicles were once again deployed to fight the fire on Sunday. Spain. In Spain, many residents are increasingly choosing to spend their summer vacations in colder Nordic nations. Last year, Spaniards were the 8th largest tourist group in Finland, but interest is growing, with nearly 200,000 Spanish tourists visiting the Nordic country. While Spaniards consider vacationing in cooler weather, many tourists are choosing to travel to Spain in search of sunshine. This year, Spain is expecting up to 100 million tourists. Poland. Meanwhile, in Poland, rivers are drying up at a historic rate, with up to 300 hydrological stations in the Central European country currently registering the lowest water levels in its history. Weather authorities reported that the water level in the Vistula, Poland's largest river, has significantly subsided, breaking a record. All provinces along the Polish rivers, including the Vistula, Odra, Barta, Bug, and Narew, have been placed on alert due to the drought. Experts are particularly concerned by forecasts for July and early August, predicting further heat waves with temperatures exceeding 35 C, combined with an almost complete lack of precipitation and low humidity in the country's forests. The Polish Institute of Meteorology and Water Management has warned that less than half of the monthly rainfall norm is expected to fall in many regions of the country. Humans will have to learn to live with heat waves. Experts warn that extreme weather events of this nature are becoming increasingly frequent in the southern part of Europe, attributing the increased frequency and severity of heat waves to climate change. Last week, the World Meteorological Organization (WMO) spokesperson, Claire Nullies, said humans will have to learn to live with more frequent and intense heat waves as a result of climate change. What do you think about the impact of climate change on extreme weather events? Do you agree that humans will have to learn to live with more frequent and intense heat waves as a result of climate change? 2. Deadly European heat wave. 6 lives lost as temperatures soar above 40 degrees Celsius. The intense heat wave sweeping across Europe has taken a tragic turn, resulting in fatalities in Spain, Italy, and France. As temperatures soar above 40 degrees Celsius (104 degrees Fahrenheit), the situation has become dire, with 6 more lives lost due to the extreme conditions. In Spain, a devastating wildfire near the town of Cosco in the Catalonia region claimed the lives of 2 farmers. Reports indicate that they were trapped by the flames while attempting to escape, despite a desperate call for help from one of the workers to his employer. The fire has rapidly spread, engulfing a vast area and posing a significant threat to the surrounding communities. Italy is also grappling with the heat, where 2 men tragically succumbed to health issues while enjoying the beaches of Sardinia. Additionally, an elderly man in his 80s suffered a fatal heart failure after walking into a hospital in Genoa, likely exacerbated by the oppressive heat. In a heartbreaking incident, a 10-year-old girl from the United States collapsed and died while visiting the Palace of Versailles, located southwest of Paris. Eyewitnesses reported that she fell in the courtyard in front of her parents around 6 p.m. local time. Despite immediate efforts from the castle's security team and emergency responders, she was pronounced dead approximately an hour later. Agnès Pannier-Runacher, France's Minister for Ecological Transition, confirmed that 2 heat-related deaths have been recorded in France, with over 300 individuals requiring emergency medical assistance due to the extreme temperatures. The current heat wave is not an isolated incident. It reflects a troubling trend across the European continent, where the United Nations Climate Agency has noted that such extreme weather events are becoming increasingly common due to human-induced climate change. Both Spain and England have reported their hottest June on record, with Spain's average temperature reaching a staggering 23.6 degrees Celsius (74.5 degrees Fahrenheit), shattering previous records and surpassing typical averages for July and August. The 2 farmers who lost their lives in the Catalonia fire were identified as a 32-year-old worker and a 45-year-old farm owner. Emergency services reported that the wildfire has consumed an area of approximately 6,500 hectares, highlighting the severity of the situation. Forecasts from EMET predict that temperatures in Córdoba, Spain, could reach 41 degrees Celsius (105.8 degrees Fahrenheit) on Wednesday, with overnight lows remaining uncomfortably high at around 28 degrees Celsius (82.4 degrees Fahrenheit) in nearby Osuna. France is also feeling the heat, having recorded its second hottest June since records began in 1900, with June 2023 being particularly scorching. For departments in France, including Aube, Cher, Loire, and Yonne, remain under the highest level of heat alert, as issued by Meteo France. In Sardinia, where temperatures have recently exceeded 40 degrees Celsius (104 degrees Fahrenheit), a 75-year-old man tragically died after falling ill on a beach in Budoni. Another man, aged 60, also experienced health issues while at the beach in L'Impasto, San Teodoro. In the Italian province of Vicenza, 2 construction workers were hospitalized after suffering from heat-related illnesses while working in a hole. One of them is currently in a coma, according to reports from ANSA news agency. Meanwhile, Greece is facing its own challenges, with 2 wildfires prompting emergency evacuations. Authorities have issued warnings about the high risk of fires across various regions, including Attica, Crete, and parts of the Peloponnese and Aegean Islands. In the northern Halkidiki region, a rapidly spreading blaze near the coastal village of Vervuru has forced residents and campers to evacuate, with power outages reported in the area. Firefighters, including 65 personnel and aerial units, are working tirelessly to combat the flames in difficult terrain. On the island of Crete, a large fire is raging near the seaside village of Achalia, threatening homes, tourist accommodations, and vital infrastructure. Local residents and tourists have been ordered to evacuate, with over 100 firefighters deployed to manage the situation. Dimple Rana, a specialist in heat and microclimates at the Sustainable Development Consultancy Arab, emphasized the significant correlation between heat-related impacts and age. In the UK, for instance, the majority of heat-related fatalities occur among older adults, while younger children, particularly those under 5, are also at heightened risk. Another critical factor is that individuals from lower-income backgrounds often engage in more manual labor, which increases their exposure to extreme temperatures. The UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has warned that heat waves are becoming more frequent due to human-induced climate change. As the planet continues to warm, extreme weather events are expected to occur more often and with greater intensity. The World Meteorological Organization, WMO, the UN's Weather and Climate Agency, stated that human-induced climate change is leading to more frequent and intense extreme heat events. They noted that the impact of heat on human health is particularly severe in urban areas due to the urban heat island effect, where cities become significantly warmer than surrounding rural areas, especially during heat waves. This phenomenon is exacerbated by the prevalence of paved surfaces, buildings, vehicles, and other heat sources in urban environments, which can lead to increased heat stress and higher mortality rates during hot periods. As we reflect on these alarming developments, it raises important questions about our preparedness for such extreme weather events. Are we doing enough to protect vulnerable populations? What measures can be taken to mitigate the effects of climate change? We invite you to share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. 3. Europe heat wave warning, record temperatures forecast. Europe is bracing for another round of sizzling temperatures, and this isn't just another hot summer. The heat wave currently sweeping across the continent is projected to push thermometers to shocking new heights. But here's where it gets controversial. Just how unusual are these scorching temperatures? And what do they reveal about our changing climate? Let's break it down. An international team of climate experts, pulling data from the University of Maine Climate Change Institute and the National Centers for Environmental Prediction Global Forecast System, are tracking the heat minute by minute. Their Monday forecast shows areas in Europe could see mercury readings climbing into the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even up to a blistering 120 degrees Fahrenheit. These figures aren't just numbers. They paint a vivid picture of a continent sweltering under the weight of extreme heat. To put these forecasts in perspective, the maps don't just show raw temperatures. They also reveal how much hotter, or, in rare cases, cooler, these current conditions are compared to typical July 7th averages, based on baseline data from 1979 to 2000. On these maps, regions light up with zones measuring up to 5 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Fahrenheit, or even 15 degrees Fahrenheit above historical norms. And this is the part most people miss. It's not just the highs that matter, but how much higher they are than what we're used to. Now, a common debate emerges. Can we blame climate change for every single heat wave? The answer is more complicated than many realize. While connecting an individual hot spell directly to climate change requires careful analysis, scientists are overwhelmingly confident that global warming is making these heat waves occur more often, last longer, and break more records. If you need proof, look no further than the World Meteorological Organization's bombshell March 2025 report confirming that 2024 was officially the hottest year ever recorded. Even more staggering, it marked the first year in which Earth's surface temperatures exceeded the pre-industrial average by more than 1.5 degrees Celsius, a milestone with profound implications. And here's a final detail many overlook. The temperature maps for this forecast cover the period from 8 p.m. July 6th to 8 p.m. July 7th in Eastern Time. So, these numbers reflect a precise 24-hour snapshot capturing the peak of this heat event. This brings up a vital question for our community. Are these record-shattering temperatures a mere anomaly, or clear evidence that our climate is veering into dangerous new territory? How do you interpret this surge in extreme heat? Do you think enough is being done to address the risks, or do we need a radical rethink of our approach to climate preparedness? Share your thoughts and challenge each other in the comments. After all, this is a debate none of us can afford to ignore. 4. Europe's deadly heat wave. Wildfires and EU climate plan explained. In the scorching grip of Europe's relentless heat wave, a devastating wildfire in Spain has claimed 2 lives and ravaged vast swathes of land. The blaze, which erupted Tuesday evening, escalated rapidly, sending a towering plume of ash and smoke 14,000 meters into the sky, a record for Catalonia. This unprecedented fire has consumed over 16,000 acres, primarily of grain fields, demonstrating the new ferocity of wildfires in the region. Salvador Illa, the regional president of Catalonia, emphasized the unprecedented danger posed by today's fires. These are extremely dangerous. From the very first moment, it was considered to be beyond the capacity of extinction. Despite the efforts of 500 firefighters, the situation was only partially stabilized thanks to a timely rainstorm. As temperatures soared to 39 degrees Celsius (102 degrees Fahrenheit) in Lida, authorities urged 14,000 residents to stay indoors for their safety. This heat wave, linked to climate change by weather experts, has also set new records in Spain's sea temperatures, exacerbating conditions both on land and at sea. The crisis extends beyond Spain, with Turkey battling multiple wildfires and Italy facing blackouts due to soaring electricity demand for air conditioning. In response to these escalating challenges, the European Union has proposed ambitious plans to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 90% by 2040. Climate Commissioner Wop Hoekstra highlighted the urgency of these measures. We are finally here on a very hot day, and some would call that very timely. The EU's proposals include allowing businesses to offset emissions using international carbon credits, a move that requires approval from all member states. The increasing frequency and intensity of heat waves in Europe underscore the critical need for immediate and concerted action to address climate change. As the World Meteorological Organization notes, more than 2/3 of the severest heat waves since 1950 have occurred in the last 2 decades. This unfolding crisis not only tests the resilience of communities across Europe, but also calls for a global response to mitigate the devastating impacts of a warming planet. The decisions made today will shape the future of our climate and the safety of generations to come.